Cricket Buzz Live after that first T20 international, India versus West Indies. India were going to win it once the bowlers kept West Indies down to 109. But leave a little spice on the track and you get a good cricket match even if the target's a little small. And India had a little scare, not a major one, a little scare. And then eventually Dinesh Karthik led another run chase. Mighty impressive Krunal Pandya at the end. 21 of 9 balls in a slight pressure situation, but went and played freely. These players just come ready, and India winning with 2 overs and a ball left. But the most interesting part actually came before, when India were chasing just 110 to win, and I say little because he looks like a young man, but big little O'Shane Thomas came running in and bowled quick, didn't he? Zach and Ajay is still here. You enjoyed watching O'Shane Thomas?
Well, I enjoyed watching him in the first ODI when he made his debut at Guwahati.
And then every day after that, you asked why he's not playing.
Absolutely, because you can create situations. You can create that kind of impact, and he looked like a wicket-taking bowler then in the first match. And we were talking about on the show saying that his numbers are not suggesting that. But he did make that kind of impact, and for a captain, if you're thinking of taking wickets and changing the course of the game, then you need elements like O'Shane Thomas, to create that kind of scenarios and situation. And today the wicket also supported him, and that's something which showed they needed early wickets. We spoke about if any chance West Indies. We've seen low scoring games, where the games have gone the other way, but against this kind of batting lineup, you need not just one performance, you need sting of performances to win these kind of games. But nonetheless, the match was exciting because a fast bowler was running in hard, hitting the deck hard, and creating those back foot movements from the batsman. Feet in the air, ball going through around the helmet. So that's something which always makes interesting viewing.
I hope you caught the excitement on the face of one fast bowler about another fast bowler. Because while you were talking, I was watching Ajay as well, and we're all looking at you. Fast bowler again.
It's a pleasant sight for him, but for the batsman, it's not a pleasant sight. And you don't get this sight very often these days.
I mean, he got two proper international opening batsmen out in that spell. And it was a peculiar kind of game because the West Indies had 3 bowlers, really. Once the spinners came on, the game got over. So they had to use them the best way they could.
So one thing you could see is that you said those 2 bowlers, the spinners we're talking, or say Karen Pollard in there. These are bowlers who look good in a game when it's a 180, 200 run game. There isn't much difference that you see. But a pure bowler is always a pure bowler. A wicket-taking bowler looks different from the other. And they will, when they have a bad day, it's just that their good days and bad days have a big difference. So, they will either be match winners or they'll have a day, they want to average things. So bits and pieces bowlers, and over the years, if you see what the West Indies that I remember as a child was what? All bowlers were wicket-taking bowlers. One after the other would keep coming.
Don't, Ajay, don't remember those.
No, but
golden days of us.
But actually, if you see O'Shane Thomas, Shannon Gabriel, if you put all of them together, Keemo Paul's not a bad bowler. You put all of them together, you've still got an arsenal.
So it's the way you play and way keep going back to how you use your arsenal as well. If you put just one of them in there, what we saw was a little highlight today. Imagine there was a Gabriel in there, or
even a Jason Holder,
Kemar Roach. So if you make 4 or 5 of them, then the game changes. It's just that the wickets have become so flat around the world. So teams and captains think, anyway, let's get a bits and pieces bowler or a batsman who will do who'll do average things, and then you hope the opposition makes a mistake. This is a different style of playing. I mean, just that 4 overs at the start, 3 at the start and 1 when he came back with a short leg in there. It's a 20-20 over game. So if you can continue this for that much longer, that keeps the pressure on the opposition for that much longer.
Yeah, it means Rohit Sharma has now won 9 of his first 10 games in charge, but another run chase anchored by Dinesh Karthik. There's a maturity to his play. Every time Dinesh Karthik came on, you got the feeling someone had lit a fire behind him. He was always, up around everywhere. But I've heard as Lakshman say it, I've heard Rahul Dravid say it, that they thought he was one of the most talented batsmen in the South. But now, it's funny, after all these years, he's probably batting the best that he's in the last couple of years.
He is, I think, in white ball cricket, yes. I think That's one of the reasons he's been picked for the test matches as well, that he's shown those kind of signs. He was looking calmer, he was more in control, and everyone were talking about, this is Dinesh Karthik version 2.0, and that's something which has given him those chances as well. And but in the white ball cricket, shorter format, he's definitely matured as a player.
I mean, we saw that in the IPL as well. He was picked as captain of Kolkata Knight Riders, and he batted himself at not at 4 but at 5, sometimes at 6, and he was producing these run chases. Now in IPL 18, now the reason we bring it up, of course, is that he played well, but our producer is a KKR fan, so he puts we take every opportunity to put a KKR thing in. But look at the number of run-outs in IPL run chases: 35 of 29, 42 of 23. There's a 23 of 10. He's actually reinvented himself as a finisher in white ball cricket, and today he brought a sense of calm, and that one 12-run over from Pollard changed the game.
Yeah, all those not outs just tells you that, how he's changed his game. I heard Rahul Dravid, I think, if I'm not sure, say this many years ago somewhere, where he said, we only look at talent as the ability to hit the ball or the athleticism that you have. He always had that. But he said there is another part of talent that we overlook. And I think that's what's come here. The mental strength that you need to look at a player. And I think that was missing at one stage of his career. That has, definitely taken a different turn. And you see a much calmer, as you said, much calmer. He understands the game much better. So he doesn't take those chances. It's not just sheer skill talent that we keep talking about.
Which is what we're seeing in Rishabh Pant, for example.
Yeah, so he needs to put that on. So I'm saying he's talented in skill-wise, or the brashness that he has, and I hope that he stays with it. But he needs to understand there are stages of the game that you need to take a chance or not. He'll learn with time, but the sooner he learns, the better, because he would be disappointed today, because here was an opportunity to come back 40, 45 not out and show the team or the team management and that, look, I can play sensibly too, which I'm sure can, because he's got a 100. It's not that he can't. But how often you do it. And Dinesh Karthik himself said a year ago when he was talking to somebody, and he said, look, I thought, I just had to play these fabulous knocks once in a while. But it's about how consistently I do it. And he's doing exactly that, whether it's KKR, whether it's for India. And that's the turnaround. It's not that he's added any shot to his game. He had enough shots. In fact, he's brought his game closer. Yeah. He's left a few shots that he used to play. But he's understanding the game much better. And he understands it's not the number of shots that I play. It's the not out at the end of the game. And Mahendra Singh Dhoni, he's been watching, sitting at home for so many years. He had to learn it.
He said something. He said, I'm a student of the school in which Dhoni is the principal. I think that is what he said a year ago. That's what he said a year ago. Candidate for the World Cup in your book, Dinesh Karthik? I mean, suddenly you've got Dhoni, you've got Rishabh Pant, you've got Dinesh Karthik, but Dinesh Karthik is probably batting the most solid of all of them.
The question is, you have 3 wicket keepers in the lineup with Dinesh Karthik coming. Probably there will be 4 keepers, including KL Rahul also. I'm including in that list, and that's the question. So that's, I think, even though the World Cup is still far away, and his chance of going there, I see it as a very bleak chance, because you would want the power of Rishabh Pant there. The fact that when you have someone like Dinesh Karthik batting at that number, at number 6, that gives the top order also freedom to play their shots, and that's something which saw in Rishabh Pant as well today. Rishabh Pant could take that high risk shot at that stage, just because that someone like Dinesh Karthik is there to stabilize the innings if need be. He can play according to the situation.
I'd love to look at the numbers. I think his T20 numbers are probably better than his 50 over numbers. That's what that could well be.
No, that role will be played by MS Dhoni himself.
There you go. What about Krunal Pandya? I mean, it's easy to say young Krunal Pandya is 27, but young in terms of experience. He comes in, he's batting for the first time for India, and he bats like he is knocking his kid brothers bowling around in the backyard.
Looks like both of them are going to be playing for India. I think he's just the opposite, the talent that we were talking about a minute ago. He has all the other attributes in the game. He may not be athletic, he's not as flamboyant as his brother or the players around, but he understands the game. That little nudge to the third man, reverse sweep, which you saw, I missed that ball. So things like that. He's a ready-made player. He's complete. He's because you can't at this age bring in a talent of athleticism into somebody or stroke making ability. But as you grow older and older, you get smarter. But this man on day one is ready to play international cricket in a way where he knows his game pretty well.
It's a fantastic combination that the family has produced, because you've got a seam bowling flamboyant all-rounder and a spin bowling all-round. If they can bat 6 and 7, then you go into every game with 6 bowlers, and then you get batting down to 7. Then you're okay with Bhuvi at number 8, or even you can play, or if you got an Ashwin or a Jadeja or someone at number 8. You won't have a Jadeja and Krunal Pandya together, but
Well, the question is, do you have enough time now, to experiment
the fair
something
call,
like this?
yeah.
So that's something which will be the debate. If you look at it as just the comparative whose place he can take, then yes, Kedar Jadhav is a direct competition that way, and looking at his history of injuries, maybe that's the only chance I see it going forward right now, because World Cup now that way is not that far away as
You got
well.
13
So
games.
that's something which will be the point of debate when it comes to discussing whether Kunal Pandya should be part of the World Cup or no. It all actually depends on Kedar Jadhav, because that's the only spot I see that which is
I mean, the other option is that Hardik
likewise
bats at 6.
comparison.
Hardik bats at 6, and you got Ravindra Jadeja to bat at 7. So
With
there are
these
options
two brothers,
now.
they might just keep fighting who's going to go ahead of them, because they're not going to worry about the team.
No,
They'll
I
say,
think
"Bhai,
they said once
I am
that,
senior,
मैं बड़ा भाई हूँ."
मैं बड़ा भाई हूँ, मैं पहले जाऊंगा, तो वो लड़ाई ना हो जाए, but that's your only worry. I think they both are similar players. It's just that one is a seamer and one is a batsman.
I mean, he's
One has a potential to grow. I think Hardik still is as a player growing. Here's a complete player. He's a package ready. You want to use him now. I don't see, there are players you see in 2 years' time they will get better. Or because what can you get better at? You get better temperamentally, with experience and things like that. Rarely do you see a player who gets better with his skills, just in terms of striking the ball, because that's a natural ability. So younger brother is one who's going to grow as a player, and here's a man who, if you had to play today in some game where it's crucial, or say World Cup or whatever, he's a better option in that sense, because you know what you'll get. He's a sensible player. He's not going to throw it around. Whereas with Hardik, he will achieve things that his brother cannot get to, but he won't do the simple things as probably Kunal.
I mean, we must be careful. He's only played that one game for India so far. But the reason we are optimistic about someone like Krunal Pandya is the composure that he showed, the calmness. Now, when he came into bowl, his first over cost 10, and then he pulled it back quickly, varied his pace very well. That's something Ajay liked very much, how he was varying his pace. And from 1 over for 10, he's finished 4 overs, 1 for 15. And he scored 21 and 9. I mean, he's done everything
That's
he wanted.
strike rate 233. Not many people have that. And if you can keep going that way.
And he didn't slog.
No, he's
He
not
didn't
a slugger. He isn't a slugger. He's a batsman who uses his skills, maneuvers the field, uses in fact the pace of the bowlers. If you see, all his shot making is not down the ground what his brother does, but it's more using that pace, whether it's third man, whether it's square leg. Even today he nudged a few. He's totally a different kind of player. And I guess because when they were growing up, ask a bowler, he'll tell you, if you have a batsman who plays off the front foot and the other plays off the back foot, it's difficult to find that length. So ideally, as brothers also, they're not a bad choice.
Two brothers completely different. Eh?
Yeah, totally different.
You see Hardik Pandya, and he'll walk with a bit of a strut. He's got that little attitude about him, and he'll do things on a cricket ground that'll make your jaw drop sometimes. He's a magnificent athlete.
Yeah.
He'll suddenly bowl one spell like he did in Trent Bridge, or he'll hit sixes all of a sudden. Elder brother.
One is flamboyant, one is
Yeah.
sensible, looks to do the right things, and that's why he's the elder brother. Usually elder brother takes the responsibilities of.
आपके कोई छोटे भाई थे?
Yeah.
No wonder.
But I have an older brother as well.
Okay.
So that takes the pressure
So you're the
off.
sandwich.
So the middle one can do whatever he wants to do, which I've been doing.
Of course.
How many cheers for the wicket today? Because we see so many flat 200, 210 wickets. This was how many? How many marks for the wicket for you?
Oh, 100 out of 100. It's Dada who's made the difference. Anyway, as a friend, we want to say that. It is good to see wickets like this. It's fun because the cricket gets better. It's exciting.
If you're a batsman playing this game, you'd still have said that?
Yeah, you would still, because don't get me wrong, this could have been a 200-run game. The wicket is not the difference. If you had a 40 for no loss situation in, say, even 5 overs or 6 overs, things would have been different. The spinners would have gone for a lot of runs on this wicket. And this is the wicket that I think at the start we were talking, and I said I couldn't put a total down, because this kind of wicket, you'll either get people getting out all the time and the bowlers on the top, or you'll have the batsman who's ruling the roost. So it'll never be a dull and a boring game, and that is what everybody wants to see.
That's what you want. We get too many wickets that you come to the ground and there's a big banner there. Only batsmen allowed entry. Those are boring games, actually. You know, it's my bat versus your bat. So
I think that that's allowed all of us also, people saying that we can put a number to the score. What is the score going to be? So, you know, when you have the similar kind of pitches, then the score varies in another 10, 20 runs, which is no fun for the viewer, no fun for the players. Whereas here, a lot of skills got tested today. You know, opening batsmen who were tested today, when the guys who walked in who batted 4 and 5 don't have to play that pace. You know, they were all tested. So that's fun to watch from the studio.
So, so that's 3 bad matches for the West Indies in a row. I mean, the first 3 matches in the one-day series, the West Indies looked very good side. They were competing, then suddenly fell off the cliff in the first 2 games and find themselves bottom of the cliff even now after the first T20. We moved to Lucknow. We haven't had a game in Lucknow for a long time. I remember going there very long back. It was the KD Singh Babu Stadium in 94. It was a new
played
stadium.
one of the first class games there actually. Most of the games which I've played was in Kanpur. So I can't recall the last game where I've played in Lucknow. So
This is the new stadium.
The new stadium,
the new
yeah.
stadium, so it'll be
So I
the old
remember-
one was a flat track. And
Last game played there was 94, early 94. It might have
against
been
Sri Lanka,
against Sri
Sidhu
Lanka.
hitting 6s to
And it
Muthaiya Muralidharan.
It was a pre-Dusra Murali
Pre-Dusra.
who would get 5 wickets but
Yeah.
concede 180 runs.
Yeah, because he'd keep bowling from one end.
Yeah.
They had no other choice, and Sherry would be hitting them all over the place. I think Sherry got a big 100 there.
Yeah, he
and
did.
Hit about 14 sixes or something.
He did, and
But
I got it.
I hope the wickets changed and it's more like what we saw today.
So, would you do anything, make any changes, this Indian side? I mean, I guess a lot would depend on the surface as well, but the bowlers did well. So
well, I mean, when you have bowling card like this, I don't think
Yeah.
any of the bowlers you will be thinking of changing. And yeah, the call Indian team will be looking to take is, you know, whether you want these many batsmen or you want to have extra bowling option. Looking at the way game has gone, I think, you know, the chances of that happening is also very bleak, because, you know, when you have a game like this as bowling unit, you don't want to discourage anyone. You know, if everyone has contributed, so that's something which, depending on Bhuvneshwar Kumar's fitness, maybe, you know, that's the only call I see team management making.
The only batsman who didn't get a game was Shreyas Iyer. I mean, it's unfair to suddenly tell Manish Pandey one game we want to look at Shreyas Iyer. You want to give him 2 games, right?
Yeah, it's been like this. I remember from Ireland, he had one game where he didn't bat. Then last few tours, he's been in the side, he hasn't got a game. And one inning is too short a time to look at anybody and say whether you're good or not. And somebody who's especially done well in the past. It was what, he got 100 in Australia last time we were there in a one-day game when he started his career. So he's a successful player, and one game would be too short.
Yeah.
Only thing I'd think of is why not add Chahal to this? Because if the leg spinners
can't play.
If they can't play, then it's a no-brainer. But how do you fit him in?
So if Bhuvneshwar Kumar plays, then there
Ah,
will be
home ground.
possibly,
Home ground
possibly
for
2
him.
changes then. Then if Bhuvneshwar Kumar plays, then that gives you luxury to have Chahal as well.
You could, I mean,
But you know, it will lead to a very tricky thing. Suppose Bhuvneshwar can't play for whatever reason and you keep the side but you play Chahal and you have Krunal Pandya batting at 6, then Umesh Yadav is going to frame that score sheet because he might be number 7. I mean, they might play Kuldeep Yadav.
Yes,
they might play
Yadav.
Kuldeep. But even if he is number 8, Umesh Yadav will frame that. Did you ever bat 7 or 8?
I must have. Number 8, I think.
yeah, what was
Number
that?
8.
No.
Big
Number
partnership.
8, I must
That
have.
big partnership, that we'll never forget. That was number 11 with Sachin when he outscored him in the
No, the
partnership.
one days he's talking about it.
No, test.
at one
One days as well.
Okay. So we'll see.
It's been very up and down, but yeah,
Yeah.
there have been some good spikes as well there.
Yeah, but
So maybe opening this time at T10. How about opening?
No.
day? No?
no.
Opening with the ball, yes. Opening with the bat, no.
The West Indies have only 14 players available to them. They've big miss today, Andre Russell. The other lesson they learned is Karen Pollard is no longer a bowler. He came and delivered some juicy little balls that changed the game. The game changed with those 3 boundaries that Karthik took in that over. So what can they do? The 3 players who didn't play today were Sherfain Rutherford. He hit 43 or 15 balls in a game in the CPL. So I don't know whether there'll be the place for him there somewhere, because Dinesh Ramdin is someone they could replace. They've got Shea Hope as a keeper. I wonder if Obaid McCoy. It probably depends on the kind of surface there is. After this game, they want to be an extra
I was
pace.
surprised by tonight's game not using Powell.
Robin Powell, yeah.
Robin Powell is supposed to be all rounder, you know. So when he tried
Pollard.
Karen Pollard at that stage, you know, maybe Robin Powell,
Yeah.
he was also a good option at that stage, which Brathwaite didn't try. Maybe in the next match, if I think one wicket keeper should play. You know, that's something which they can easily make. You know, they both have similar kind of styles. Shea Hope he did open the innings, so you know Robin Powell has opened the innings in the previous match in the last ODI at Thiruvananthapuram. So that's something which I feel can be a possible change. Whether it happens or doesn't happen, we'll have to wait and watch.
I mean, the West Indies, when they come to play a T20 World Cup, they're a different side. When they play a normal T20 game, they are, well, just another side. So we'll wait and see what happens. Now, how many of you got the joy factor right? Now, let's bring the question back to you. The joy factor for today was, which international cricketer, former national captain, used the symbol 5+0 on his jersey in ODI matches, and why? Now, some of you did get the answer right. You, of course, had to send it to the hashtag CricBuzzLive. And the answer was Ashwell Prince, the South African cricketer who, as a tribute to Hansi Cronje, wore the number 5+0. Apparently, Cronje used 5. So after Cronje was, died tragically in that air crash, he put 5+0 as a tribute on the back of his shirt. So the answer was Ashwell Prince. Some of you got it, actually. Now you must, when you put the answer, tell us if you Googled the answer or if you knew it. If you knew the answer, I'm not wearing a hat, but hats off. That was the kind of answer that very, very few people actually get to know. Now, who got it right? Here is the big name coming up, Steve Vuggies. There you go, at Steve Vuggies 4. Well done, Steve. You go into Joy's little black book as people who've got the correct answers. So well done. The joy factor is getting tricky, by the way. I'm still waiting for Joy to come up with a question which all of you Google and cannot get the answer for. So we'll give that to as a feedback to Joy. Thank you very much
Thank
to
you, sir.
Ajay Jadeja,
Thank you.
to Zahir Khan. We'll wait and see if Lucknow can get the fast bowler in Zahir Khan smiling again, and the batsman Ajay Jadeja being happier seeing it on a television screen. But it's good fun. We'll wait and see if it's 2-0, the West Indies come storming back. That's on the 6th. We'll kick off the Diwali celebrations with that game on the 6th, and then we take a break for 4 days before the last game on the 11th. So there you are. That was CricBuzzLive. Sadly one-sided towards the end. A little bit of drama, but towards the end, India just had too much in the bank and go 1-0 up. Thanks for joining us.